We are ready to start with the EFL Grand Final. Woo! I'm gonna first announce our amazing panel, then I'll invite the teams to go on stage, then Joy would read the motion, and then we will proceed to have the actually amazing debate. So, judging today the EFL Grand Final, in the chair we have Enting Lee. With her are judging Guy Wolf, Jack Stanley, Jack Williams, Mubarak, Paula, Sachin, Tejas, and Umar. And now to invite our amazing teams. In opening government, we have PUCPB.
Con cariño, para todo el Perú. Grupo 5. Así.
In opening opposition, we have U Belgrade A.
Is that you, Keller? Is that you, Keller?
Od sportova samo parkour, troši se ko da je sapun, barem dva su mutna po spratu, skupljaj lovu, sad će ti da sum, osim outfita sve je belo, na red karpet ko u delo, pusti ne zna gdje je levo, važi puca flaša o čelo, ovdje niko nema ispod soma na sebi, a svi su...
In closing government, we have Tsukuba A.
Možda bi znali za drugo.
And then in closing opposition, we have U Belgrade B.
Sedeo je preko puta mene u kafe baru na peronu. Dočekali smo voz za jug da krene, zalutali u vremenu.
Motion for EFL finals. Can I hear some drum rolls, people? Thank you. This house, as an average person in a developed country, would live a life heavily prioritizing long-term commitments, people, places, vocations, etc., over heavily prioritizing flexibility and keeping options open. Good luck, teams.
My name is Enting and I'm judging the final. Just very quickly to let my judges introduce themselves from left to right.
Joy, good luck. I'm Sachin, good luck everyone. Joy, good luck.
Sorry.
Umar, good luck.
Brendan, good luck.
Paula, congrats everyone and good luck.
Tejas, good luck everyone.
Mubarak, good luck everyone.
Sorry. All right. Just a couple of reminders before we start. The first is that I know we have an audience, and I know that teams, people like to cheer for their teams in the final. Please make sure that you save your applause, your whooping to the end of the speech if possible, because if not, you might drown out whatever teams are saying, and it would make it much more difficult for us to judge the round or to credit things if we cannot hear them. Second of all, a reminder to teams that we will start timing 30 seconds into your thank yous. So please to keep your thank yous short and succinct, because if not, your timer is just going to start running. Third of all, we will be running the timer with the dings for the 1st minute, 6th minute, and 7th minute. I understand it might be a bit too quiet to hear on stage. Please make sure you have your own timers running as well. All right, yeah, like that. Okay, cool. So without further ado, I'd like to invite the Prime Minister to give a speech not exceeding 7 minutes. Here.
Hi, I'm audible? Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, before I start, I just want to say thank you to my family if they are watching me on the stream. This is literally all for you. I'm here because of you. And second of all, to Sebastian, probably this is our last debate, I think, ever. And I really enjoyed this path, my friend Chewy. And to the Latin America. Okay. I'm going to start my speech on 3, 2, 1, go. We believe there are two main important things for an average person in the world. First of all, being happy. I think the most basic intuitive thing in our life is to do things that make us feel like literally happy and things that fulfill our self-interest. But second of all, we believe there is also a natural interest on having predictability. Most of humans want to have control over their situations. Most people feel scared when they don't have control on the outcomes of major decisions. This is why most of the people try to planify maybe on short or long term their decisions. So that's the two main claims we are going to prove on opening government. Two pieces of setup in our side of the debate. First of all, how does it look like in developing, how this narrative looks like in developed countries? First of all, probably there exists a strong narrative that gives you liberty on choosing your own plan and path of life. In this particular country, liberal narrative says that individuals have the right to choose their career, what type of family they want to do. So OP can't say that the life that you are going to choose is a life that society imposed you. In this kind of country, liberal narratives give this agency to the people. Second of all, there probably exists a strong support and background of, for example, your family, the education system, the state that have a very certain approach to people in order to give you information and a lot of support in order to take these important decisions on your life. But thirdly, we also believe that in our side of the house, in extreme cases, we have the capability of, for example, moving to another country, changing our career, changing the job. But this is only going to occur in the most extreme scenarios. In most of the cases, we're going to have long-term plans. I think this is clearly how this works in our side of the house. Second piece of setup. Why we believe in this kind of countries, we have material conditions in order to seek for long-term plans and life conditions. First of all, we have economic stability. We're talking about countries where you can go to a good university, a good school, you are going to have a good career. Probably most average people in countries like, I don't know, UK, French, Canada, etc., have the ability to have a good job from other lives. Second of all, you could have, for example, the ability to live in your country many times. For example, this is a problem, for example, in the third world. You need to move to another country in order to look for new opportunities. These don't happen in developed countries. You have the capability in order to stay there. But finally, you develop a strong social connection with your community. We're talking about countries where family are significantly important, where the society seeks you, for example, by religious narrative, etc., in order to look this. So we believe we have not also material, but also social preconditions in order to seek for where we are looking in opening government. We're going to run a big argument on basically analyzing the comparative. I'm going to explain why we can achieve this in our side. Sebastian is going to extend why in opposition we have less ability in order to succeed what opposition need to defend. It's going to be an easy case in opening government. Why we have the material necessity on planifying long-term life? First of all, we have emotional necessities. People need time, confidence, choosing the correct people in order to, for example, establish a group of friends that make me feel comfortable. In opposition, we are constantly changing our group of friends, the people who I'm working with. This means that we have less capacity on making a strong social relationships. We believe this is a precondition for many things. Why? Establishing social stable relationships is a precondition, for example, in order to developing well in other areas of my life. When I am fucked up at my job, I need my friends to support me in the back. When I am fucked up in the university, I need my family, etc., etc. In opposition, we're significantly far for these things. Second of all, we need material care necessity, for example, when we are incredibly sick, when we are incredibly old. In opposition, we have liquid relationships. In proposition, we have much more stable relationships that have a moral duty on helping us much more in our side of the house. Probably they're going to say that there exist incentives. You need to ask where the delta is more in these extreme situations. But finally, people need stability on their life for daily decision life. We need advice of people that know us much more than a person that I know 3 years. I need advice of my friend that knows me, for example, 15 years, like my friend Mauricio, for example. Let's talk about the impacts here. First of all, we have more capability on enjoying our daily life decisions because the basic things are the things that makes us happy. Because, for example, having a dinner with my friends of all my life, it's something that fulfills my emotional needs. In opposition, it's unclear why I can have these basic daily successfully, for example, things when I don't have this strong relationship with these people. Second of all, we have much more control of our life. We're gonna flip the argument of like flexibility and opposition. Look, people want agency in their life. In our side of the house, we are the ones who choose what we are going to do, what we are going to study. We planify my life in 15, 20, 25 years. So this means that the agency in our side is significantly higher. Why this is not true in opposition? We are only moving where the system feels that we are more necessary. If our jobs appear in other country, I just travel to another country because there is a job that my company wants for me. If I need to change the university where I study or the places I'm living, I'm going to do it. Not because I want, because this is what the system wants for me. So this is that the agency and the capability on choosing my life decision is significantly worse. Why this is bad in opposition? Because many times people feel frustrated and they don't feel like related with the decisions that they have taken in the past, because probably you have strong pressures on opposition on taking fast and indecisive decisions, because the system pushes you in order to change all the things I was explaining. So this means that in proposition we have much more control of our life decisions. Closing.
Flexibility doesn't mean you don't do anything long-term ever. It means that when you have or need to leave, you leave and you're more flexible
in
to
your
do
side
so.
of the house. Yeah, that's literally the comparative of the debate. You can also take long-term decisions. The point is the amount of long-term decisions you take in your side are significantly less than in our side of the house. The final point I want to explain is a point on long-term. Look, when you are old, many people, for example, when they are literally in the place they are going to rest, they are going to die, or they are literally old, many people in opposite side probably are going to feel a strong frustration for the type of life they have. Many times when you are young, you feel that this is good, like traveling a lot, having liquid relations, don't establish long-term vincles. But in the long term, when you are old, this is the most valuable thing for people. Having a family that can support me, having a strong relation that literally are gonna take care of me because they care about me, but not because they have, for example, economic interest on us. In opposition, these are the relationships that we literally have mostly. So that means that in the long term, when people are old, etc., we have much more support and much more relation connection that can help people in order to develop more in these special conditions. We're going to win on OG easily. Why? Because we have proved that this is the most basic thing that people want. In opposition, it's unclear why people can establish basic life and daily relationships that are the precondition for all the other impacts. For example, economic succeed, job succeed, etc., and that's why we are very proud to propose for the last time. Thank you very much.
All right, fantastic. I thank the Prime Minister for a great speech. I call upon the Leader of Opposition. Hear, hear.
Can you hear me? Okay, quick round of thank yous. First to Novak for the best and funnest debate season ever. Second to my family for their support. Third of all, I want to wish a happy birthday to my tita. And finally, thank you goes to all wonderful friends and people I met in this community that made this journey worth doing. You know who you are, and I love you. We from all believe that people are not stupid, meaning that if something is really good for them, they won't changing, especially if it's overwhelmingly good. Why? Because first of all, it brings you daily happiness. Second of all, people usually encourage you to stay with narratives about stable jobs, good relationships are hard to find, etc. Also, you're a rational person. If something is really making you happy, you will not have the urge to change it. Fourth of all, people are clinging to what is easy, meaning that we need this mindset to snap you out of it, to counter what is in human nature, to just go with what's easy and not with what is better. When will you change actually something? When there is something that is bugging you. You're daydreaming about different jobs, different opportunities. You feel jealous of other people and their lives, about their relationships, their jobs, the way they live, and something like that. And also you feel like there is something missing in your life, meaning that when you do have the urge, in our world, you will actually act on it and change something, but in government world, what will you do? You will suppress it, and you will gaslight yourself that actually it's not that bad, actually you need to be happy with what you have, and basically stop yourself from making decisions that are better for you. So we say that mindset that you have on our side of the house will improve your life quality basically every day. What is it? You have way less biases, meaning that you do not lean on sunk cost, meaning that you do not overstate how valuable something is just because it was true in the past. Second of all, you don't cling to what you once decided. You allow yourself to make changes and to actually change your mind. And please notice that people change their minds every day. You force yourself to enjoy the journey because it's not something that you settled for, but you don't know what's coming up next. You enjoy every day and every decision and trying to make the best out of it. But also, failure doesn't bother you as much, meaning that you know that whatever happens, you will able to adapt. Please notice that making new decisions is really exposing. All of us are afraid of failure, and basically people on our side of the house have courage to make their lives better every day and to make decisions that will help them enjoy every part of their lives. We say that world, people, jobs are constantly changing, and in our world you will adapt rather to cling on what once worked. Why change is happening? First, when it comes to people, you're basically getting older, your frontal lobe is developing, you're developing new interests, you're discovering some things that you didn't know existed, meeting new people that are broadening your views, not now. Also, this works both for you and for other people that were part of your life, such as friends, such as partners and stuff like that. But also circumstances change. Like a lot of things can change, meaning that you can lose your job, economy may change, some new great opportunity may come up that may sound risky, but is actually something that you really want. And what will you do in our world? You will not stop yourself on acting on this, but rather you will trust in yourself and do something that you actually want in both worlds. It's not that in their world you will be satisfied, just rather gaslight yourself to the point of where you make yourself settle. So, also, we say that in your world, even if something better comes up, you will try to make what once work, to make work some old relationship, old jobs, and something like that. We say this is leading to you losing a lot of time, a lot of energy, investing yourself into jobs, relationships that are not working. We say that on our world, you will open yourself to better opportunities and learn what works for you. As I said, everyone is changing, but also there wasn't much choice in deep thinking in your early decisions that shape your life. You probably entered some university because you knew someone older, or something when you were fucking 17 was interesting to you, and now that needs to, on government side, determine the whole life you are living. Job is probably one good opportunity that came up when you were 22 or something. But now, we say on our world, people, places, jobs, university doesn't define you. Basically, you are constantly reevaluating your decisions and making better ones for yourself, and you're allowing yourself to change without internal judgment, without being afraid what others are thinking or if you are making a wrong choice. And we think it's a beautiful thing in two folds. First, on objective terms, we really believe that a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities take courage, and you are a courageous person that is doing that. But also on subjective perspective, even if you don't find some amazing jobs, you will basically enjoy journey much more. You will take risks. You will not be bored of your everyday life. Even if you fail, you will try again. And finally, when you do decide what will you do or who are you going to be with, you will know, you will be sure in that decision, and you will enjoy the rest of your life much more. Also, we say that you deal with with bad stuff in life that will happen anyways. So, for example, people stabbing your back when you don't expect, also some health problems that may occur, economic changes, you're losing your job and stuff like that. That will happen to every person regarding the mindset. But also, if you have fixed mindset, that means that you will more and more, you will feel helpless, you will not know what to do. It will be really hard for you when you're 35, 40 to make first courageous decision in your life. But here, if you are used to this, if you from early age are taking some risky decisions and not putting all eggs in one basket and have this flexible mindset, that will make you much happier. So you will adapt to whatever life throws at you and make it work. And also you will have diversity of options, and you will not be afraid of changing circumstances. And please notice, circumstances will change. So we say that our world, our mindset is stopping you from living mediocre life and settling. Job that is okay but doesn't fulfill you as much. Relationship in which you are but feel like you settled. We don't want you to settle. We want you to look back at your life and have zero regrets. Whether or not you end up doing the same thing or being in the same relationship, you will be much more sure into what you have decided. You will be much more sure into your decisions and what you did, that is the right thing for you. You will not think all the time if the grass is greener on the other side, but rather you will know that you tried, you failed, but you tried again, and eventually you are happy with your life. Please, opening opposition.
All right, fantastic. I thank the Leader of Opposition for a wonderful speech. I call upon the Deputy Prime Minister. Here.
Mati, you are literally legends. We are here because of you. We are so proud of you. Thank you, Diego, and thank you to all the people that support me and that helped me to get here. I'm so proud of me. I'm so proud of us. Muchas gracias. I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. I want to be very clear in this speech. We need to be nuanced here. We in opening government, we still can have new experiences, even if you have like a stable life, right? We can travel each year with my family. I can travel with my friends to new countries, to new places. People that have stable lifestyles, or that they live in their country and they have one own job, like they can do this stuff. So this is not that you have a boring life when you do this stuff. That's most people do, and we think that that's the reason why it's not true what opening government was saying in first place. The second thing I want to be clear with this is that the people in the society right now give value to the life that we are pursuing in opening government. What I'm trying to say here, people really value the stability to having your same job, to having the same friends, is things that people give value to them. This means that actually when any of us have been grow in this society, we grow with the idea that this is something that people wants, and that means that I feel that it's something that is valuable also for me. I see in social media all my friends have these types of life, so probably I really believe this is a way that I can have a good life in the future for me, so it's okay for me to pursue this in life. This means that it's untrue that people have a necessity to adapt to new lives. I think that people have existed through years, through decades, in the way that we are trying to pursue an open environment. This means that my family have taught me that this is a life I should take in the future. I need to have long-term commitments. That's what people used to do. This means that I get used to this thing. I see a lot of people being happy in this way, so I really believe I can be happy too in this way. This means that I'm really convinced of these things, and I really don't think I need to adapt to a new life in first place. The second thing I wanna say here is, look, they already proved that you can have a good life when you have this stability, when you have this. But of course, sometimes you have some problems and some struggles you need to go against. But look how it is easy to deal with these problems. In open environment, you have the same friends that understand you and have been with you for 20 to 30 years, and you always can tell you your problems. If you have an economic problem that's even in the developed world, everyone have. Sometimes you have, like, for example, unemployment eras. You have some friends, a strong connection that can help you, that can give you money, that can give you a loan to survive in that moment. So when you're planning to decide which life I want to do in my future, you need to take into consideration these particular moments where you're gonna suffer a lot. In that moment, you need to take, right? Stability when you have good friends, a good place, good job with good connection that allow you to deal with these moments, or to have flexible connections, not that strong. Of course, as they say, is that you take more risks, but that risk harms you. And when you need to evaluate what is better for your life, I think it's completely better to have stability and have people that can help you when you really need it. The third thing I want to do in my speech is to explain why it's hard to be flexible. Because of course, opening opposition is clear that in the case that you get to the best flexibility, you can travel everywhere and have the job you want and do whatever you want, you can be happy. But they prove the incentive but not the capacity. Why is it so hard to be flexible? The first thing is because you can, when you begin, maybe it can be easier, but as you become older, that becomes harder and harder. What I mean with this? I mean that basically, for example, when you are 20, 22, 23, it's easy to go to a new place to get a job. But when you are 30, 32, and you start to become older, it's hard to integrate to a new community, to a new place, to a new job. Why this is true? Because you need to compete with people that is younger with you, right? You move to another place, to another job, and your experience that values in your own country or in your city is not exactly the same that matters in the new place that you are going right now. Why? Because of course they don't know you. They don't know what type of work did you do before or what that matter. You are competing with people that are in the locality. This means that it's harder for you to have a good, flexible life in an open position because of this reason. The second point here is that because all your experience matters less, and the third point here is that people already have a community. People already have connection. People already have friends. So in our world right now, people used to value the stability life, the life that we are supporting in open environment. This means that if you are trying to pursue a different life, a flexible and changed life, that's what OO supports in this case. This means that basically you are the weird guy or the weird girl that basically try to introduce to a new community that they are not getting used to integrate more people when they are older. This means that it's hard to have good connections and to enjoy life in open position when you have the stuff. So what we are demonstrating in open environment: A, that you can have good life in open environment materially. Second of all, that you can believe that in your future you can do this, and this means that you really think that in these long-term commitments you have a purpose, right? This means that you're not bored of what you're doing because you think that this is something that has purpose in your life, right? That's the reason, for example, all the fathers, like, they enjoy exactly the same way that the birthday of their son each year, right? Even if monotonous, is exactly the same thing. You think it's something valuable, and it's a purpose for you to continue growing, to continue having more experiences with your same family, with your same friends. This means that we are clearly better materially. We enjoy more things in open environment, and we really believe that this is true, and we have the capacity to do it. That's some stuff that OO and CO can prove. Closing.
When a market crashes in 2009, how do you deal with your financial capabilities being
Okay, but let's be please comparative. Of course, in the cases where we can't stay in the same situation and we need to change things, we are gonna do it, right? We need to be comparative at all. Our case is that in the most moments of our life, we're gonna take one way to live or other, but of course, in the extreme ways when they need to take our way of living and we need to take their way of living, of course, we are gonna do it, right? Yeah, thank you. So why were we in open government? 3 main criteria. First, because we have materially conditions that are clearly better, right? It's easy to have better jobs and it's easy to deal with economic problems that I'll really explain this. The second of all, the capacity to enjoy life. We'll really explain that people around me basically construct this idea that this is a life that I should pursue. This means that the capacity to me to believe that this is what I want is better. Third of all, because it's easy to live in this way and to give purpose to the things that I do in my daily life. This means that, for example, each thing I do with my family is still valuable because I give purpose to them, because I give value to this stuff, and I'm really convinced that these are the good things for me. So this means that we are happier, we enjoy more life, we have more freedom in open government, and that's why we win in open government. Thank you.
Right, fantastic. I thank the Deputy Prime Minister for a wonderful speech. I call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition. Here.
Okay, so first for the thank yous that were sadly cut short. First, I want to thank my wonderful debate partner, Katarina. She is amazing. She drove 3 times Belgrade, Sofia, and is like the best possible friend and the best possible partner, and she's responsible for most of our, the good cases we have. Then I want to thank Theodora, who is simply wonderful. Then I want to thank the people in my community who are also good, both the people who I've learned from and the people who I have had the honor of teaching. So yes, thank you all. I love you. And yeah, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so first to answer the challenges from their side. So let's see what they say. They say, oh, you can still have your new experiences, go on vacation and stuff like that. Sure, you can, but notice that it's a similar kind of experience. You do the traditional thing that you're used to and that your family's used to. You go with the same people. You go usually to the similar places, like Serbs always go to Greece and Montenegro. You don't change much there. You keep doing it, and even if you feel, oh, maybe something else will be better, you're still forced to do that because you yourself internalize that you should not change things much, you commit. Then they tell you, oh, you believe you will be happy, but notice, panel, they are the ones that tell you that in these societies there are many narratives about how you should be individual and build your own life, meaning that there are things that are challenging this perception that all you need to be happy is the same 5 friends from elementary school and your family. Also, secondly, their case is contingent on all of these old relationships, family and so on being good. Oftentimes that's not the case. I will talk about that more in our speech, but if they're bad, then this is flipped and it's bad. Then they tell you, oh, you will have support from your good friends, but I think they fail to answer what Katarina is quite clear about. And let's be rational for a moment. If the friendship is good, I'm not gonna leave it. If the job is not too difficult, pays great money, I'm not gonna leave it. Most people are rational. You don't simply, even the people, most debaters have their options open. That's why we're not having kids and building families. We're here practicing speaking and competing in speaking, and you guys are here judging. And you're still rational. You probably don't abandon your friends for whatever reason. If they're good, you stay in those relationships. I think that's the most human thing ever. Then let's say what else they tell you. Oh, over time you're not going to be able to adapt, move to a new country and so on, you're not going to stay flexible. Sure, but notice what counts as flexibility and options open also changes over time. You keeping your options open and being flexible in your 40s is not the same in your 20s. In your 20s, it's probably, yes, maybe going to like a bigger city to study in university or even another country, like trying out new things and all of those things, like trying out relationships. But at the moment when you're older, it is changing from your really bad job or thinking about changing careers when you can do that effectively. It is leaving a marriage that is abusive or really bad, or going like simply trying to make your life better. Thirdly, like trying to get new friends even when you're older, or fourthly, trying new activities. This is something that is accessible to people even when they're older, so I don't think that that really stands. I'm sorry. Okay, now to add more to our case. Like, guys, notice why objectively you're gonna be better off. Simply when you're trying new things, statistically you're more likely to succeed at something, or more likely to see what really fits you really well, and so on. That way you do get more stuff. Also, like, things when like really bad stuff happens, and it's probably gonna happen on either side, like you losing your job, the economic situation getting worse, or simply like your friends ending up not being your friends, you're easier to cope with it because you don't feel like it was necessarily forever. Because one, you've already probably diversified, sort of like you already have friends from different groups, you already thinking about leaving jobs or whatever, or you've tried out multiple fields when your field changes. But also, when you change, you don't feel like you've lost at life. You don't feel like your life is over because you couldn't keep the commitment. You are more likely to adapt. And on the thing like idolizing things, when you try out things, you're less likely to idolize them and think, okay, maybe the grass is not greener. When you've tried when you've tried many things, you're far less likely to do that. But also, like, subjectively, you don't have to question it all the time. And notice how the regret is stronger on your side. Sure, when you're younger, you can be coped into this, but when things don't work out, you keep thinking, okay, what if I tried more? What if I was more open during my 20s? What if this career, which my parents promised me was really good, was bad for me, and maybe I would have been really successful in something else? What if I tried debating instead of just studying 10 hours a day because my parents told me, trust me, son, you should not go to debate? There is more regret on your side, and I think that's awful. Now I want to add another argument. Look, pretty much every person goes in one way or another through toxic relationships. It can be toxic relationships within your family, because unlike what OG says, many families are not good. They're bad for you. Why? Because oftentimes their values are simply way different from yours. So even if they're well-meaning, they are very what they count as a good life and being good parents is very different from you. Second, they were often brought up in a bad situation and they are abusive towards you and so on. Thirdly, they stigmatize your choices. They stigmatize your sexuality. They stigmatize how you choose to stay alive. They think you should be married by the time you're 25 and you don't want that. Many families are bad. But even if you're lucky and you have a good family, most people through their life, when they're inexperienced or whatever, they go through toxic relationships or really bad ones. Also, like, even if you get lucky on that, many people end up at a toxic job where they work more than they're supposed to, where they're paid less than their worth, and they're just sitting there and wondering why are they unhappy. This is awful, and this is something that is far easier to fix on our side, and is worse on you. Why is it worse on your side? Well, because you're convinced that this is the way things are supposed to be. You think it's immoral to leave. If you leave a relationship where you promise that, oh yes, this high school relationship is gonna last for a lifetime, when you think of leaving it, you feel like you're a shitty person. There's something wrong with you, and so on. And thirdly, you don't recognize the problems here. You don't, because you feel this is how things are supposed to be, so you're unhappy and you don't know why. Closing.
Why you can assume you can change your job? I want to be a pilot. I want to be a billionaire CEO. Why I have capacity?
Look, you're not gonna be able to be a billionaire CEO, but most people, when they're open to changing jobs, what do? Three things. First, they at least look, are there alternatives and so on, which is already great, more information for it. Secondly, they wait for the opportunity. Thirdly, they use their connections. We're not saying you're gonna be a billionaire CEO, but you're a rational person, so you can maybe choose a job that fits you better and so on. Like, at worst, your best case scenario, things are the same. Okay, let's get back to relationships. when you're open to changing things, when you don't think that everything is forever and so on, what are you more likely to do? You're more likely to be critical of your own like job, relationships and so on. Second, you're more likely to actually leave them at the point where it's bad for you and so on. Or so even if you stay for some time, you're going to spend, even if you would leave on either side of the house, you're going to leave a lot earlier on our side. And I think that's an amazing thing. Why is it this so good for you? One, you suffer less harm from all of those bad things. But secondly, you feel better about leaving. You don't regret it. You don't feel like you're a bad person for doing that and so on. You don't second guess it and so on. Look, guys, all in all, when it comes down to it, you having freedom to choose, not being weighed down by the same commitments you made when you were 20 is an amazing thing. Yeah, have a good life.
All right, fantastic. I thank the Deputy Leader of Opposition for a great speech. I thank all members of the top half, and now to open the back half of the debate, I call upon the Member of Government. Here.
Mic volume check. Can you hear in this volume? Great. So, quick shout out. 3 years ago, Tsukuba debating started with just 2 freshmen, me and Yutro, and nothing else. We wouldn't be standing in the World's Final, one of the World's Final, with the support of our teammate, without support from my friends from institution, and across Japan, and debaters around the world. Thank you so much. At the beginning of my speech, I would like to kick out very shady, uncomparative claim from the opening petition. First, obviously on our side of the house, government, all the people are able to pick and choose the degree of commitment to the person based on the characteristic they have. Meaning, I think we better able to make casual friends as well as on our side of the house, because you have some friends that only meet once in a half year and go and hang out. Or you also have a deeply trusted friends, we can pick and choose the resource allocation as a variable. Secondly, the toxic relationship argument is very, very shallow margin, because they have characterized how abusers are emotionally strong, how they are very manipulative, right? How you are like out of your consciousness, you're likely to emotionally bind it. It's very uncomparative claim. Then let's get into the real debate content. First, human relationship vertical extension. Opening government explained that this is important because emotional necessity. They somewhat asserted that deep commitment will somewhat lead to more like human relationship, but they didn't explain the comparative psychological calculus. The premise of this argument is that deep mutual supplemental relationship require certain amount of commitment, because these things are very conditional. Reason number 1. Note that when when as an individual have to support friends or people in the community, you have to somewhat temporarily bear the asymmetrical psychological and financial burden in case of people helping in poverty, in case of helping people in depression. Secondly, you also feel very insecure whether this person is going to pay back me in the future. You are likely to feel the personal sacrifice with no benefit for you. Meaning, on a petition paradigm, we believe that three behavior likely to make your human relationship inaccessible. Number 1, you presumably confidently talk about your future like purpose and career, and you likely declare that you care about flexibility. People around you see that you are moving every 3 years, right? Even if you don't aggressively declare flexibility, presumably you don't show severe physical version of commitment to the romantic relationship. You're less likely to fund shit amount of money on the community. You don't severely invest in the community funding, stuff like that. Therefore, the friends relationship, the community on opposition paradigm are likely to be very not trustful to you. The people are still risk averse that you're not paying back to you. Note that we think they will then the community member and relationship that you have on the petition are likely to speculate that you are leaving soon again. They are not paying back to you. Note, they don't provide, therefore, they are not likely to provide emotional support and attention and affection to you when you are in need, but also they don't share their weakness, so they are unlikely to help you for the some help. Meaning, not only you cannot access some support, but also you are unlikely to be ones who can support other people. Meaning, you are likely to experience lower self-esteem, lower sense of belongingness to the community. Why this change on Arizona House? First, on Arizona House, they know that you are the ones who are least possibility of leaving and exploiting you. Why? Because you are likely to frequently show up in the community. You are likely to frequently fund community services. You are likely to frequently show off and physically show you and verbally show you that why you love your partner, why you love your friend. Note we are better able to unlock the series of benefits that you can accrue from the human relationship. Firstly, know that person and community members, friends, romantic relationship partner are able to bear the temporal risk of them being asymmetrically burdening physical, emotional burden. Second, trouble and conflicts are likely to be solved on our side of the house because they know that because on their side of the house they have little incentive to discuss and rectify the wrongdoing or conflict or some difficulty because they are experiencing little sense of sunk cost. Number three, you better able to accumulate positive material to make relationship better. Note, the longer you experience time in your community and dedicated person, you better able to learn the nuanced preference of others, how you can help other people and how you can avoid making them very pissed off. Number four, we think the vocational benefits and communal benefit as well. I think you better able to access to some high-paying jobs or some very important role in the community. You might be invited to the leader group of the community. This is very satisfactory because we think when you access the greater degree and depths of the community, you better able to multiply your daily happiness story, but you also at the same time alleviate and dilute the sense of grief you experience in your funeral or your parents dying. Lastly, we think for this reason, we better mechanize why on their opposition paradigm, the human deep supplemental relationships are inaccessible, which opening government has a little mechanism. We prove why this is going to be better off. Lastly, why we think the choice is the cause of insecurity and we can get rid of this. First, average people in developed countries, unfortunately, are imposed tons of choice while they are actually diluted for their confidence. First, social media, your average level of income allow you to reach out some other option which you do not have imagined. Secondly, once you believe that choose is some legit option as a core belief or strategy of your billing, likely to choose again and again, you're likely to make infinite. You are likely to make infinite comparison with what if world. So why this is going to worse off before me on PY from the opening.
Yeah, this is not about like you leaving every 3 years. This is about the average person. This is like more normal stuff.
I already mechanized the nuance. Leave every single 3 years. People in community will see you, the degree of less commitments to you, which is very asymmetrical difference. On opposition, we think the small dissatisfaction on daily career interaction become a tipping trigger for you to create or looking for next other choices. We think you are likely to under the chronic obsession, inertia to choose again and again. Why this is a tipping point on Arizona House? Note, two things. You're likely to become blind from this anxiety, infinite anxiety from multiple choices. First, you are likely to erase most of the choice. First, in a positive manner. You're likely to somewhat purchase the housing in the community, so you're likely to, don't think about moving away. Secondly, you're likely to shut down the job change website or emailing list, so you're likely to not look at some options. Why this is important? We think the more you compare from the other option, you're likely to find the most dissatisfactory version of your career. On our side of the house, you can focus on the improvement of your career within the dedicated framework. You can accumulate the knowledge that I have previously explained. For that reason, daily living will be much more better. Proud to propose.
Right, fantastic. I thank the member of government for a great speech. I call upon the member of opposition. Here, here.
Quick thank yous like everyone. Thank you to my best friend Babic for ditching me on this comp and allowing me to actually be in the finals. And finally, to the lifelong friends I've met during our fight against the corrupt system in Serbia. You guys are beacons of light. With you, everything is possible. Pumpai, and let's win that fight as well as this one. Okay. Do you know which plan never fails? Not having a plan at all. That's a quote from my favorite movie, Parasite, and I would like to think that I live by this quote, right? Notice, this quote basically tells you that how you shape your identity and how you relate to every decision that you make is going to determine your happiness and your experience in your life that's inevitably going to end at some point. Notice, simple extension from closing opposition. How your identity is formed under these decisions that you make and why that influences quality of your day-to-day lives. Notice, your identity and self-perception is shaped by two things. Firstly, your habits and interests, and secondly, by your sacrifices that you commit to achieve certain goals and to explore this identity, right? This means that when you perceive yourself as a long-term oriented person, that means that every decision that you take is subservient to the goal of making long-term stability, of making long-term success, right? This means that every small step you take, no matter how insignificant, is a part of the grand scheme of things that is going to result in happiness down the line and control down the line. But also it means you spend a bunch of time trying to balance out things in your life because your identity is not going to be successful and validated by other people if you're not seen as consistent. Meaning you always have to be long-term oriented. You always have to have Excel spreadsheets to share with your friends to say how you're responsibly managing your finances and stuff like that. This means that you as a person have a strong commitment and strong sentiment towards your decision-making process, right? This means that you cannot easily abandon your commitments in your day-to-day lives. Why? Because that feels like a failure, right? This is a crucial piece of context coming from closing opposition. Why? Because if you'd abandon some decision that you made previously, you evaluate yourself as a failure because you failed to plan for a future in which this scenario might come. You see your previous self as being bad and faulty at decision making in planning for risk and stuff like that. But also, your future is now dependent on the choice that you made, right? Meaning you have a lot of burden to plan in advance, and this puts a huge stress on you to not fail again. But also, you feel that you've wasted time, energy, and capital in doing something. This hurts much more when you have restricted the amount of resources you're going to have because you have oriented them in the long term, right? Notice, this means that you weren't able to be successful in what you were doing, but also it means that you need to adapt your plans, which is hard for you because other things are not changed, right? Meaning you have to deal with this solution in the grand scheme of your life that you created. What does this lead to? It leads to first a worse perception of your value as a human being, right? Because now it's much more contingent on success, but not like short-term success in getting a promotion, stuff like that, but in long-term success that is going to pay off at some point. Why? Because you hedge your bets against having a big house, a big family, a good car, you're going to work as a manager in 5 years and stuff like that. Meaning every small step of success that you make down the line is not seen as that big of a deal because you have not reached the end point and the flagpole. Notice, this also means that there is more rigidity in your day-to-day decisions, right? So how does this materialize? Basically, it looks like how you plan on spending your free time, right? How you rest and relax, who you see in your free time. This puts a huge strain on your decision making, right? Because if you have free time, you're going to go to the gym. Why? Because you long-term want to have health, you want to be fun, you want to be like good looking and shit like that. But also, you cannot go outside and stay for long because you have work tomorrow, because alcohol is bad for you, because sleep is great for you in the long run, you're going to live longer, shit like that. Thirdly, you don't feel good eating out because that's garbage food, but also it's financially unsustainable for the long run and shit like that. This means that you don't enjoy your time that you're spending because it's forced, right? Because when I go to the gym with my friend, I feel like I'm being a part of a larger goal and not just going to the gym, right? But also this means that I'm going to spend more time compromising, right? I'm going to spend more time dealing with things that I would rather not be dealing in order to prove consistency, in order to do these things, right? And government is going to say, yeah, but this means that you're successful at shit. But notice, regardless of are you successful or not, how you feel when you're doing these things is the most important metric in this debate, right? Because as an average person, and we agree you're average, you're not going to have millions. Spoiler alert. You're just going to be maybe 10, 20% better salary and a more stable job, but who cares at the end of the day? Notice, secondly, how you relate to your choices, right? They always have to be future-proof, meaning I cannot invest my money if it's not a long-term investment. Secondly, you cling much more to your decisions to the point of them being bad, right? You take on more work, you spend less vacation days, you do overtime to compensate for having a vacation in which you spent a lot of money and stuff like that. Why? Because balancing a bunch of long-term commitments in various ways is incredibly hard. Because notice, a lot of these decisions are mutually exclusive, right? If I want to have a higher salary, if I want to have a higher paying job, I cannot spend as much time with friends and family. I cannot spend as much time going on vacation and stuff like that. But also, everything is important in the grand scheme of things, right? This means that your day-to-day experience is much more cumbersome. Biologically, you're more exposed to stress. You have to look how the market is shaping. You have to look at your investments. You have to think, is my job going to be future-proof with the AI bubble and with AI swap and stuff like that? But also, you have to make compromises at your own expense much more in order not to lose what you've worked on in the long term, right? This means that I'm going to have less boundaries with people. I'm going to invest more time satisfying others, not to risk them getting mad and abandoning me, because that is what I'm prone to do. This is how my identity is shaped. This means more stress. This means you cannot relax. You're always chasing milestones. You time when you're going to have a house. You time when you're going to make babies. Your life passes by in silence. Yes, opening.
When you have short-term incentives, you constantly push and put pressure on yourself that undermine your personal value because you depend on achieving all this short-term stuff in your cycle of the
but
day.
you achieve short-term stuff, right? But, and this is great because the rest of my case is covering that. On our side of the house, your activities feel much more fluid, but your self-worth, much more importantly, is not dependent on success, right? This is crucial because this means that I'm flexible in my perception of success, right? This means that I know that I'm capable of success, even if I'm faulty at that perception. I know that I can take on this job. I know that I can adapt. I know that I can take a course and learn how to do programming, right? This means that you now know how, you have more confidence in exploring these things. But also, your short-term success is valued much more, right? Because you perceive it as a consequence of your actions and not as a consequence of long-term investment that you made from a young age, right? And this is crucial point of characterization from here. Because on the counterfactual, you feel that your success is only contingent in the amount of time that you've spent doing something. This leads to imposter syndrome. Because if I've just done 2 courses on this and I'm working this job, maybe I'm not fit for that job. Maybe I have to do more. Maybe I'm not worthy enough to be in this company and stuff like that. But also, you're risk averse to even try, right? If I know that I haven't spent much time and money and stuff into something, I'm not going to be that prone to actually dealing with this. At the end of the day, biologically you feel much more better. Proud to stand and oppose this motion.
Fantastic. I thank the Member of Opposition for a great speech. I call upon the Government Whip to close the government bench for this debate. Hear, hear.
Sorry. Sorry for my shortness. Thank you. I'm not tall. So. Okay. So starting with shout out to my partner, and I see very random thing because what I prepared is very, very same as what he said. I just want to thank you to my partner Yuki. He's always clever and passionate and sincerely making effort for debating and encouraging me. And 4 years ago, he invited me to launch new institution Tsukubara. And if he didn't invite me, I wouldn't be here now. And since that day, he invited, our journey has continued and continued to this place. So I want to celebrate the end of the journey. Okay, I want to start my speech. So, firstly, I'm going to deal with the closing position. I'm really not sure why their case is bad, because it's good to go to gym, it's good to have healthy life, you are the good person, it's okay. Secondly, I think you have very, very schizophrenia here on your side of the house, because you always have to move around, you always have to check every single job hopping culture newspaper. I'm not sure that pressurization only exists in our side of the house. Something to say is the goal should not be perfectionist. Goal can be like you want to have good life with your family and the friends or with your own community. You don't have to be like, I want to be a billionaire, so I have to make efforts to every single investment channel or these kind of things. And also you can adjust your own goal at every single point of the time. Or maybe my first purpose was too far from the daily life, then I can adjust this the purpose with these kind of things. And secondly, not always your surrounding people are likely to pressurize you, because like that person, like friends, families are always like supporting you and not likely to like, oh, you should read this newspaper or these kind of things. Lastly, I think this is very symmetric because social media anyway pressurizes you and portrays some good life, and what's the difference from the status quo? I'm very, very unsure. CEO is obviously out. And I'm going to say, even if their case somehow stands and somehow mental pressure exists, it's much more better to have friend relation which can substantially support at the point of time of the crisis, at the point of time of your mental depression. Obviously they are forced. Moving on to our extension, what we said mechanization of the opening government's case. Opening government had great job to impacting the case, why it's good to have the partner or the relationship or friends. But it is very, very important to talk about exclusivity in the debating. They don't say why, if you don't stay in the long-term like commitment, why this relationship is lost in opposition side of the house, and why this relationship is only available in government side of the house. We have already explained why, in terms of like the fear of the payback, in terms of like the more expectation for the payback, you're likely to stay in the with a healthy relationship with your friends and the families in our side of the house. Therefore, our mechanism is a premise of their case to stand. Second thing they said is somehow agency. I'm not sure the premise of their argument, because maybe you feel like your life is predetermined and I don't have agency maybe in the opening government scenario. I'm not sure why this feeling of agency is more important thing than the substantial support which I have already described. And last thing to point out is, our least burden case about making choice would makes people insecure is a least burden argument. Obviously, you're likely to spend more time on job hopping paper in your side house. You're likely to have more time with your families, and your families or the friends is likely to confirm you because you have concrete relationship in our side house. Last thing to talk about is the opening position. There are many things. Firstly, they said, very symmetrizing claim. If the relationship and the job is so bad, we would like to live here. It is very, very, I think, the not good claim in the debating, because if the condition is so bad in outside house, you obviously move, even if you have stubborn mental like system, or even if you have the traits towards the long-term stability. It's the thing that doesn't change in both sides of the house. Next thing they said is most important. They said the job, we can change the job. First thing to point out is, even if you change the job, you're less likely to be satisfied, because the reason is they told, when you get older, when you get grow, your interest would changes. So you change the job, your interest change, you're chasing the dream which you never can achieve in your side house, always. Second thing to point out, here's the delta. Then your quality of life objectively would be worsened, not only because of the oldness, which as a deputy prime minister said, it is, I think, not good mechanization. I'm going to do 3 rebuttals, which is applied not only the old people, but also all types of people, 20s, 30s, 40s, who is still in the competitive age. Firstly, you have limited skill set. If you don't spend 10 years on the programming, you don't have the know-how about how to do the good programming, how to deal with the error, with these kind of things. If you don't have these types of things, you're likely to be replaceable in the job market, and the condition of the job you can get would likely to be worse in your side house. Secondly, the timing, the moment you want to change you change your job is very random. So therefore, the moment is not like company is wanting at the point of time. Lastly, human traits. You're likely to be treated as untrustable figure because you are changing the job. Maybe you are not available in the next month or next year. Therefore, the company do not want to hire you because you cannot expect your long-term commitment to the companies. So, what they said is, one, you will wait the time. No, thank you. No, but even if you wait the timing, I think you don't have skill set objectively. Second thing they said is human relationship. Human relationship is heavily unavailable in your side house because you don't have strong commitment in your side house. Next thing they said is, it's better to have the human relationship because you have less pressure to put your all the effort to specific relationship. First thing to point out is relationship needs the acceptance, and the acceptance will be worsened in your side house. Why? Because you would put less effort. You're likely to less go into the drinking party. You're less likely to go to the picnic. You're less likely to disclose your mind in your side house because you do not want to put everything in the specific relationship. Which means the people would less likely to accept you. No, thank you, because you don't accept my POI. Then, okay. So what happens in our side house? In our side house, you can pick and choose the person who to communicate with. The specific person who want to communicate with in the long term, and the person who do not want to communicate and just want to have the casual relationship. In your side house, for every single person, you have to cut off the relationship, or you have to, you are less likely to put the effort, and which means you do not have diversification of the friend. You have just no friends, or you just casual friends, just chatting on the Facebook or these kind of things. Not especially helpful at the time of crisis, these kind of things. Last thing they said is toxic relationship, which is very, very symmetric in both side house. Firstly, obviously, if the relationship is too bad, you are likely to leave that place. Secondly, if you have friends, if you have a community to support you in outside the house, like you can expect that support is available strongly, then here is the moment you can leave your toxic community. Here is the moment you can leave the toxic families and the workplaces. Last thing to point out is self-care narrative, such as you should leave your families, you should leave the toxic friendship, is always available in both sides of the house through the social media, as they pointed out. For these reasons, it is very clear in outside house the available human relationships and less stress of the job hopping or these kind of things. Proud to propose.
Excellent. I thank the government whip for a very fine speech, and I call upon the opposition whip to close the debate. Hear, hear.
Just a few quick thanks. Thank you to the most important people in my life, my mother and my sisters. Your unending love and support is what got me here today. To the friends I made while debating, you have made this fun and enjoyable. And to the coaches I've had all over the years, thank you so much. This is your success as well. Stability is not promised to anyone, but when you expect it and it falls through your fingers, you fall apart yourself. First of all, let's go back to a few of our impacts. The first one is you resent what you're doing for the longest period of time. When you tie your identity to it, when it falls apart, you feel bad. You start to resent it and you do not get any enjoyment from it as well. First of all, second of all, you have a certain emotional burden. You tie your worth to will or will you not succeed? Will you or will not have all the benefits that you have imagined in your head to get? Third of all, you have no adaptability because you feel worse once these things fall apart. apart and you do not know what your next plan is because you had one plan and it just fell apart. And the last thing that is the most important, you get less enjoyment from anything because you view it as a chore, you view it as something that you must do, you view it as a goal that you must achieve, and you feel less worthy even when you succeeded, even when you achieve the thing that you want to achieve. Now, even when you make a good choice, that is something that is opening government is trying to push, oh, you will still make a good choice. You still feel like a failure, even when you make a certain different choice than what you made in the end, because you put in too much time, too much money, your whole life, that even when you change for something better, you still feel like a failure that didn't achieve something that they wanted for a really long time. In the end, you feel better when you don't tie your identity to these things you cannot control. And on our side, you feel better when you have more adaptability, when you're more stable to make different choices, when you have more confidence to actually move on with your life. The only engagement we get from closing government is, oh, well, it's good, so you just have to do it. First of all, we do not care, because even if it's good, you lose all enjoyment from it because it feels like a chore and you might not even succeed at it in the end. We say to you that even while living your life, you do not get any enjoyment because you set yourself on a goal that is too high. And second of all, this is dependent on you being successful. Please notice that not a single team from government proves that you will be successful when you tie your whole life to this identity and when you are a long-termist. Now, before going in to the problems with governments, let's away with our opening. I think OO's case is reliant on an unproved and kind of unrealistic burden that you will not make a better choice when it arises. We are not tied to that at all. We tell to you that when you tie your whole identity, you feel worse when living your life, and you feel worse even when you make a better choice, which we think is realistic when a better choice arises. You are not dependent on never making a better choice and never switching your life. And then on the toxic relationship, which was their second point, we say that our case is logically prior to what they are saying, because when you view yourself better, when you view your identity better, you are more likely to actually leave the toxic relationship that you have in the end. Now, let's go to opening government. And a lot of these responses will be for both governments because they run a very similar case. First of all, they say, oh, predictability and you will succeed and whatnot without ever proving it. This is not promised to you and is not on your side either. Here's a few reasons why you just can't predict stuff and why your life will fall apart at one point. First of all, outside factors that you cannot control, like the crisis, like the pandemics that really influence your life and then stop everything that you have planned. Second of all, your own preference changing. What if you at some point want to do something else? Want to change your career? Third of all, different people around you. What if you meet someone, get married, move to a different place? This is something that also puts a stop in your plans. Fourth of all, emotional connections. Your friends leaving you, your friends being a shitty person. That's something that also changes your plans and stuff like that. Economic problems, like your job, like anything else. Sixthly, your health that can influence everything that you're doing in the end. These are all the things that can put a stop into your plan. And please notice that when both governments do not prove that you will succeed, they do not unlock the impacts that they're trying to unlock, and thus no one has a case on side government. Now, about emotional connection that you are building, this is also a response to both governments. They say, oh, well, you will not have emotional connection. This is just not true. You still build connections. Firstly, because you need emotional fulfillment. You need people to like you. You need people to be friends with. Second of all, there are a lot of narratives around that say to you that this is important. Friends are important. That you need to have a social life. Third of all, you have selfish incentives. Like you want someone to be there for you. You want someone to share secrets with and stuff like that. Now, why connections fall apart? First of all, time. A lot of time has passed before, after you have made a friend. A lot of things have changed. You are not as close anymore. Second of all, later, identity changes. Now you're a different person that you were 5 years ago. Your friends as well. Now your friendship falls apart. Third of all, people can just be evil and bad, and thus your friendship ends. Because when they turn out to be a shitty person, you do not want to be friends with them anymore. Different perspective and goals. Maybe you want someone else to go in life other than your friend and stuff like that. On their side, when that happens, you are not ready for it. You're too emotionally attached. You imagine the future with them. You feel like shit when this happens. On our side, you are more prepared. You feel better. You have less burden on people you're making a connection with, which means you can make actually better connections and more long-lasting connections. Therefore, I flip their point on emotional connections because this is something that can be even better on our side. And once they fall apart, you feel better on our side as well. Now, on only point that opening government has about, you are only hard to be flexible and stuff like that. Before that, yeah, opening, go ahead.
When people in our side enter to long-term commitments, they generate emotional mechanisms in order to adapt to them.
Yeah, I don't care. I have just proved to you why you still enter emotional connections and why when they fall apart you feel better on a side. This does not stand in this debate. They say, being flexible is hard because you have a lot of competition and different people and stuff like that. You as a flexible person thrive in this. You're used to it. You're compatible with anyone. You're not as nostalgic, which means you can fit into this much better. Weighing with OG, long-term impacts, therefore, are still on our side. But we have short-term impacts because you're enjoying life much more up until the point when they unlock it, because they don't unlock it as well. This also falls apart. Now, shortly on the closing government, the only new mechanism they bring is, people will perceive you as someone that is going to leave. This is just too extreme. You do not go around telling people, I cannot wait until you're not in my life. People, they know it's based on things that really happen, so they know if they're a good friend to you, you will not leave and your connections will stay stable. Second of all, they enjoy you in the moment, thus they're going to want to be your friend. The only new mechanism is too extreme and thus out of this debate. About the too much choice, I think this is just not comparable, because even when you plan long-termist, you still see a lot of people around you, you still see people and choices that you want to compare to, so I don't think this is something that is on our side, on their side either. In the end, what CO brings to you is more enjoyment in the moment, more enjoyment in your own identity, and all over more enjoyment in your life. Clear CO.
Great. I thank the opposition whip for a very fine speech. I thank all speakers for an absolutely fantastic debate. Another round of applause for our speakers, please.